Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. We're going to almost finish up Doom Metal Week. We've got today and tomorrow. We only got two more songs, and so far I think I have a pretty good grasp on what Doom Metal is. We've checked out Pallbearer and Swallow the Sun, and even Catatonia to a little bit. Now that I can listen to it in retrospect, I can kind of see a lot of the Doom Metal influence in it, even if it isn't very metal-y. So I think I'm kind of getting a grasp on this. We're going to dive in to a song that, well, a band that quite a few people have suggested. This one is My Dying Bride. And from what I understand, this is Doom. This is like as Doom gets. um, so, yeah. Let's dive in here and see what's going on with My Dying Bride's A Secret Kiss. Cool call and response going on in the guitar work. Lots of dissonant in those guitars. Really playing around with dissonant tones too. Really letting this section breathe. Getting some Aussie vibes, like old school Aussie vibes. The guitar tone's really doing it, but the reverb on the vocal track also. think this is the first set of 16th notes we've heard all song. Everything's been really right on the beat. And we get these 16th notes right on the offbeat. Yeah, every single one of those sets of 16ths are on the ends. Oh, this section. Are there two vocalists? I do like how they end in the middle of that riff. Yeah, so they start the riff and then they cut it off abruptly. Not abruptly, they just don't finish it off. So yeah, that's an interesting way to end the track, is to sort of I don't know, it sort of has an endlessness to it. Like, yes, this could go on and on and on, and the song is a little bit repetitive, but I kind of see that as sort of an aspect of the song. Like, it's sort of like a tale that can be retold over and over. Um, and the ending kind of implies that, this is technically the end of the song, that, the end of this performance. But what comes after that. Boom, boom. You know what comes next in that riff. You've heard it a dozen times, this song. So, the song doesn't end. This is just where the performance is ending. So that's interesting. That's a cool little way to end a song like that without having it fade out. It kind of gives the same illusion of an endlessness to it without fading out. I like that. What was another... Oh, it was Micro. The instrumental track that finishes off Ginger's Micro EP. Another one that ends in the middle of an established riff. We know that it keeps going, but they kind of let it trail off and don't bring the second half of the riff back. And, the same thing, I kind of read into that as it being some sort of cycle that just doesn't break. This is the end of this performance, but you know where that riff was supposed to go. And if you start thinking about it in your head, you're going to enter the cycle. Like, it just doesn't end. This, though, so again, like I've mentioned a couple of times so far in Doom Week, is that I'm really seeing the intentionality of the tempo to create a weight rather than lethargy, rather than having the song drag because it's at a slower tempo. It's about really letting the notes hang, right? Their attacks are still right on the beat, right? A lot of this song is just quarter notes right on the beat and some eighth notes right off the beat, but everything is just perfectly subdivided on the beat or the end of the beat. And it feels like a rigid, weighty song, just this monstrosity bearing down. Um, However, where I've mentioned in the past that the bands have used it to really allow specific notes and textures to fill the space, to hang there, to last, so that the listener can really hear what's going on. Um, I've mentioned it in a positive side because to me it allows the beauty of the chord or the note relationships to ring through rather than just kind of being passed on, where you get the big idea because each individual note's kind of moving too fast to key into. You actually get to hear, the individual changes going on with the note relationships in the progression. And the songs really dig into that. And of course, it's going on here too, right? There's plenty of space for all of this stuff to be held out and really felt before we move on. But the one section I want to point out is the dissonant harmonic section, that the every subsequent time other than the first was accompanied by a growl, awake, wide awake. The awake section, we could call it. That section is nails on a chalkboard to me. And I don't know if it's intentional. I believe the guitar work is intentional. It is designed to create sounds that do not sound good to the listener. The growls, I think, is a bit more subjective. But I've mentioned before, when it comes to dissonant notes, that the faster we get off of the dissonant note, the less agitating it sounds to your average listener. So if you kind of use it as a little trill or a grace note leading into, a note that really resolves hard, you're going to get a lot of the flavor of the dissonance without the cat screeching grittiness of the dissonance. There's a lot of reason why most popular music does not include dissonance. It's not an easy thing to deal with. And a lot of modern music listeners have really been conditioned to just not like it. I think jazz and metal are kind of the only two um, like umbrella genres. There's obviously lots of subgenres that borrow from jazz and metal without being strictly jazz and metal stuff, but they're the two big umbrella genres that really took up dissonance and said, hey, what can we do with this? How can we use this to color outside the lines and make new sounds? Because if you stick with just harmonic relationships between your notes, you end up being very limited, right? It's a lot of sounds that most people have heard before. And dissonance is a way to really inject some interesting color into your writing without, but it's like any tool, it has to be used properly. And, properly, quotations, there's no right way to write music, obviously. Um, so dissonance is a tricky thing to write. And I think this really pushes my idea of, again, quotations, good writing with dissonance in it. Because even before the growls come in and we just have these dissonant harmonics, it's very off-putting to me because of the tempo. Like I said, usually with dissonance, the faster you get off of it, the less offensive it is, right? When you listen to, well, I've already given you an example, grace notes or trills and stuff like that. But these guys just hit it and hold it, and you're really, really sitting in that pocket of cringe is kind of used for like awkward things, but like the traditional idea of cringe, just like that shuddering close, like you just want to like hide. You just want to bring your body together and hold it close. You are physically cringing up. it is just such a tense sound, and they let it ring, right? And immediately my brain's like, this is bad. This is not how you write good music. But I always got to fight against that. There's many different ways to write music. None of them are right and wrong. And obviously, everybody has different tastes outside of music as composition and performance. You also have the listener, right? And different people enjoy different things. Some people are going to listen to that and just fall in love with that dissonance. And it's not like it doesn't have a purpose. When you get music like this that is really exploring strong emotive states, being in that cringe and just like, yeah, just getting the goosebumps and wanting to just crumble up into a ball, that is an extreme emotion. And if that's what they're going for thematically, then there is no better way to handle that than to really inject that into your writing. Um, I don't think it is any coincidence that it is the only section with those harsh vocals. I think that entire section is designed to really put you in that space of, the cat wailing or nails on a chalkboard or cringy, whatever you want to say. The average listener, those sounds are going to sound bad. And I think, like I said, I don't think it's a coincidence that they're paired together. I think the first time it came through, I was like, okay, that doesn't. It's not something I enjoy, but it's fine. I can get through this. And then it came back, and I was like, oh, we're doing this again. But this time it came back with vocals that I'm not too fond of, and it really just puts me in that mindset of not wanting to be in that part of the music. I want that section to pass, and it just isn't due to the concepts of doom metal. We are in a slow tempo. We are holding these tones out, and it is just a really tense section. And of course, it's done intentionally. It is designed to be to provide tension, extreme tension, to the listener, especially your average listener who's not going to enjoy it. Now, I'm sure there's some of you out here who listen to that kind of stuff, and you're like, whatever, that's nothing. I've heard worse dissonance in my life. This is nothing, and that's fine. Everybody has different tolerances for stuff and different likes and all that. So I'm sure there are going to be people who get a completely different experience out of this song. But that's the thing that really hangs out for me as far as how this weighs up with some of the other stuff we checked out. Because a lot of the other stuff I've talked about with Pallbearer and Swallow the Sun apply here. The use of tempo to increase weightiness and, really hanging on to notes and intentionality and stuff like that. So, yeah. But whereas those other bands use the weightiness to really explore some of the beauty in some of the weight, this one just really digs into, the not so beautiful sections of their writing, and again, just forces the listener to sit in it. And it's that is definitely what stood out the most to me, without really repeating myself from the last couple of days. This is where you guys come in, though. I let you know my thoughts. What do you guys think of My Dying Bride's A Secret Kiss? All right, and also, what are your thoughts about the Awake section? Right, I found it to be extremely uncomfortable. That's the word oh my god, I've been talking for like 15 minutes. Uncomfortable is the word I wanted. It makes me super uncomfortable, though. It's not that it's a bad writing technique. I just don't like the way I feel when I listen to it. Am I alone in that? Are there some people who just really love that? Are there some people who are unaffected by that combination of growls and heavy, heavy dissonance, amplified by the fact that they're distorted and probably overdriven? So they're just really cranking up the intensity on that dissonance. Yeah, I'm really interested though. If that is sort of their intention, or if they know that their listeners aren't that affected by it, and it's more of just being a cool textural thing rather than forcing uncomfortability on the listener. So, yeah. Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, you can drop that down in the comments though. When you're done with that, head into the description box. There's some links adjacent to the channel, such as a link to the Patreon, the Discord, a link to the request spreadsheet, just a bunch of stuff adjacent to the channel if any of that interests you. And a like, subscribe, and a bell to ring if you could. I would really appreciate it. It helps the channel grow, and it'll get you notifications if you want to know when I post new things. If you're more of a manual kind of person, you're like, hey, I keep track of things on myself. I don't need some robot to tell me when new videos are up. I got you. 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 p.m. UTC every night. Tomorrow we'll be concluding Doom Metal at that time with my personal pick from the poll. And then this weekend we'll be looking at some special selections, which are always a treat. All right, until next time, you guys stay safe out there. Keep being awesome, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening whenever you choose to watch my videos.